It's a pleasure to be with you on a Wednesday evening, although I have to say that it's sad to see the result in Alabama last night, although Ann Coulter admits in her latest column, as she reminds everybody that the Republican Party does not hang on her every word, that she was actually secretly hoping for Judge Roy Moore to fail in last night's election, weren't you?
Yes, that was a bitter complaint that they don't hang on my every word. And although I probably would have voted for him, I mean, it's good that it was close because I think the charges against him were outrageous and nonsense, something that I did write about. I don't like to see even people I don't think are ideal candidates falsely charged and smeared and accused as pedophilia, which was so preposterous. But I waited for the polls to close. I have many people who could sign an affidavit saying that I kept telling everyone he's going to lose, and that's fine. It's actually better for us, but I don't want to say that before the election because I don't want to hurt him. It would have been funny if Moore had won, but it should have been Mo Brooks, the candidate I endorsed in the primary, and Majority Leader Mitch McConnell spent millions of dollars attacking in the primary. Utterly respectable. Look him up right now. Very impressive person. He's been in Congress. He's a lawyer. Has a perfectly impressive career. But he happens to be fantastic on immigration, much like Sessions has been in the Senate. Mo Brooks was one of the leaders of immigration restriction in the House of Representatives. So, of course, all patriots would support him. But no. Mitch McConnell wanted to make sure his donors keep getting their cheap labor, and advised by the able Jared Kushner, Donald Trump endorsed Luther Strange, the Mitch McConnell's candidate, who, of course, went down. Well, then we were just left with Roy Moore or Luther Strange. And I'm kind of yelling at everyone involved. I mean, you can't really blame Bannon. He was still in the White House at the time of the first primary with Luther Strange, establishment shill.
But shouldn't I'm talking to Ann Coulter, who's the syndicated columnist and the best-selling author most recently of In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome. Shouldn't Bannon at that point have been advising the president, this is your guy on your signature issue, Mr. President. He's where you want to be on immigration issues, even though he's running counter to Mitch McConnell, who is not on your...
He did. I mean, I don't know what his counsel is, but I know I have a pretty good guess what Stephen Miller and Julia Hahn's counsel was.
Yeah.
You can blindfold me, and I can guess at that one. But Jared Kushner, I mean, this is acknowledged that in addition to the fantastic advice that Trump should fire Comey, Jared told him, no, we have to go with the establishment candidate. And Mitch McConnell did spend millions of dollars. Why isn't Trump telling him, no, Mo Brooks is my guy. He's the only one who's going to support my agenda. So they totally screwed the pooch, and this is what we ended up with. So I don't think it's such a bad thing. I mean, Roy Moore, I don't want to be unkind, but he wasn't my kind of candidate. He didn't even know what DACA was. The Dreamer Act. When asked back in 2006, I spent an hour on Nexus last night seeing, did Roy Moore ever say anything about immigration, about anchor babies, about a wall, about chain migration, about Dreamers? No, in 2006 he was asked, what do you think about George Bush's proposal to put the National Guard on the border, which is a stupid idea, but I guess it's better to say yes than than no. He said yes, and we ought to have something permanent like a fence. So, okay, when asked, he did give the right answer. But so my larger attack here in this week's column is these politicians have got to wake up. I mean, the voters have woken up. How many different ways can voters tell politicians we want a whole lot less immigration? And we don't care about the Access Hollywood tape or fat shaming or anything else if you just promise to give us a lot less immigration. From Proposition 187 back in California in 1996, I write about it in Adios America. Don't believe the claims that it was bad for Republicans. It was great for Republicans. P. Wilson won. He was way down in the polls that year. He won a spectacular comeback by supporting Proposition 187. That would deny government services to illegal aliens. Through a sleazy move, a court overturned it, and then Gray Davis didn't challenge it, but that's another story. So we have Proposition 187. We have Eric Cantor losing to David Bratt. We have the American people shutting down, 3 attempts at amnesty being snuck through in the dead of night by Democrats and Republicans working together. We have the election of Donald Trump. So, this sort of scattershot approach to I'm an insurgent, I'm anti-establishment, I'm running against Mitch McConnell. No, that isn't a winning issue. Being Mitch McConnell isn't a winning issue. Being against immigration, winning issue.
Yeah.
Republicans have to wake up, or Trump is going to be wiped out in the midterms. And the second Democrats have a majority in the House and the Senate, Trump's going to be impeached and removed. They're champing at the bit for that. And Trump better wake up. Right now, how is his administration different from that of any Republican other than that he has the wise counsel of Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump?
And that's the other thing. He's not been afraid to leave that wise counsel behind. You know what Jared Kushner and his wife Ivanka were saying to the president about the Paris Climate Accord. They're saying
one thing he disagreed with them on. Oh my gosh, something that was a huge part of his campaign. Can you imagine if he had capitulated to the globalist global warming fanatics?
Well, that's why it floors me that he would go the wrong direction on this, just because Kushner told him you've got to back Luther Strange, which seemed like the strangest choice of all, to back the candidate backed by Mitch McConnell, who'd been very much a thorn in the president's side.
Yes, there is this whole idea, and unfortunately, Trump is being brought down by it. That we're new in Washington, we don't know anything about politics, so let's just turn our entire Trump agenda over to Paul Ryan in the House and Mitch McConnell in the Senate.
God.
Well, look at what's happening. They're leading Trump to defeat after defeat, and meanwhile, his base. We're waiting. We're enthusiastic. We're hoping he'll still come through. And, oh, my gosh, there's time. But there isn't a lot of time left, and he's not doing it.
Her latest book is In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome. She is Ann Coulter. And, Ann, thank you very much. And if I don't talk to you before then, have a wonderful Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Lars Larson.
Thank you very much to Ann Coulter.
Welcome back. She can't wait to talk about Alabama. Ann Coulter, American social and political commentator, writer, syndicated columnist, and a lawyer, just in case you didn't know. How you doing, Ann?
Fantastic. How about you?
I'm fine. The whole world is trying to blame Trump and trying to blame Bannon and everybody else on this loss. I think this is all about Roy Moore, personally.
I'm a little ticked off at all of them, though I have bitten my tongue, though I have at least a half dozen friends who can provide affidavits that this was my position, which I indicated just as the polls closed. Trump never should have endorsed Luther Strange. He should have endorsed Mo Brooks.
Yep.
Mitch McConnell should not have spent millions and millions of dollars in the primary, not attacking Roy Moore, but attacking Mo Brooks. What is special about Mo Brooks? He ran on the winning issues, the only winning issues that are always winning issues. Immigration. Jeff Sessions was a stalwart on immigration in the United States Senate. Of course, Mitch McConnell hated him. He won his last election by 97%.
Right.
Donald Trump is not, anybody's idea of Mr. Presidential. He beat Hillary with the entire media, the Democrats, and his own party against him with all kinds of late-breaking scandals on what issue? Immigration. Until Republicans, and I'm including Bannon, McConnell, and Trump understand that immigration is not only the most important issue facing the country, but the issue that wins elections, we're going to keep having these idiotic primary fights over nothing. Establishment versus anti-establishment. We went through this. Remember?
Oh, we did.
Remember with the Tea Party candidates, Christine O'Donnell, Sharon Angle, Richard Murdoch, Todd Aiken. No, we may personally hate Mitch McConnell and establishment Republicans, and there's a lot to hate there, but that isn't the winning issue. The winning issue is immigration. Keep your eye on the ball, you idiot Republicans.
Yeah, well, listen, I agree with you there, and I also think that, everybody thinks they can beat Donald Trump. I think Roy Moore thought he could beat Donald Trump, and none of them can pull it off. I don't know.
Well, he wasn't, though. I mean, going around, look, I'm a Christian, you're a Christian, going around babbling about the Ten Commandments and abortion, those aren't the litmus test issues anymore. I will write further about this in next week's column.
I'm sure.
It used to be, back when we were kids, abortion was a fantastic litmus test. It's what separated someone like Ronald Reagan from George Bush and all the moderate Republicans. Half the Republican Party used to be pro-abortion. Then Reagan ran as, Mr. Pro-Life, won 2 landslide elections and won the Cold War. Now every Republican is pro-abortion. It means nothing. We are looking for a litmus test to separate the mice from the men, and that issue is immigration. A Republican who's good on immigration, as Jeff Sessions was, as Mo Brooks is, they will be good on every other issue these idiot Republicans care about. It isn't just talking back to the media or pissing off the right people. I love ticking off the right people. I am someone who ticks off the right people.
Yes, you are.
But that isn't good enough. No. You have to have the basic issue that voters will forgive anything for. I mean, for 20 years, Republicans, voters have, every time they've been allowed to vote on the issue of immigration, starting with Proposition 187 in California, Eric Cantor, Donald Trump, the American people shutting down 3 sneaky amnesties the Republicans tried to push through. Every time forget Republicans, it's both Democrats and Republicans. Every time voters have a chance to make their opinion known on immigration, they keep voting less immigration, restrictions on immigration, no welfare benefits for immigration, no anger babies, we want a wall. Well, how stupid are these Republicans?
I don't know.
A winning issue right here.
And you had multiple examples in the last 3 or 4 weeks in New York of chain migration, and nobody mentioned it. It was except for Jeff Sessions. It's a little, he's not running for office anymore.
I checked to see last night because I didn't recall Roy Moore ever saying anything about immigration. It was always the Ten Commandments. And again,
he wanted to build a wall.
That's not the issue.
He did want to build a wall.
I had to search Nexus last night for an hour before I could find a statement back from 2006 from Roy Moore. When asked, he did support, which is kind of an idiotic idea, but at least, he came out on the side of something. He supported George Bush's idea of putting the National Guard on the border while saying, no, we need a wall. But I couldn't find anything else in the entire Nexus archives. He could have been the exact same person if he had been great on immigration. He wasn't. Mo Brooks was. That's why we all supported. I specifically supported over and over. I only provided a few links in my column today. Mo Brooks in the primary, and that's why McConnell opposed him. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's funny because if you look at the people who did support Mo Brooks, they quietly said, all right, if it's Roy Moore better than Luther Strange, but we're not happy about it.
Right.
The same personalities. And so none of us are disappointed that Roy Moore lost. I certainly am not.
No, it would have been. I mean, I'm glad it was close because I do think the child molestation charges are complete BS. But if you take that out of it, okay, he has been falsely accused. I feel sorry for him. I hate the media. I would have voted for him just to show how much I hate the media. But take that out, and he's not that great a candidate, and he would have hurt the Republicans.
Yeah, it would have been an anchor around them. And, today, let them gloat. They think that this means something about the future. I'll tell you what it means about the future. If you look at the numbers in a harsh way, they have no chance of taking back the House unless somebody self-destructs. And the Republicans actually have a pretty good chance of getting a bigger majority in the Senate. They're defending far fewer seats than the Democrats are.
Well, it's a good year for us, but only if Republicans, and I mean all of them, Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, and Steve Bannon, all wake up and see that they are losing as long as Trump's administration is going to be, the George Bush presidency. But with Jared Kushner, that's really the big difference we have here. Get back to the issues. Get to. He hasn't even gotten to them yet. The issues he won on. Otherwise, Alabama proves Trump's base won't follow him blindly just because they love him. It's the issue he ran on. It's the wall. It's anchor babies. Okay, we did get the Muslim ban, though. I think we could be a little more pedal to the metal on that, and I notice it's not quite the full Muslim ban I was promised. He's got to stop pursuing these the old GOP issues that, some small group of people care about, but the rest of the country could not care less about. It is the white working class. It is the middle class. It's people like you and me who voted for him for immigration. Get back to those issues, and he will start winning again. But if he doesn't do that, I say Republicans get wiped out in the midterms.
Wow, that's a heavy statement. See, I don't see how that happens. I think that there's a lot of stuff happening, Ann, that's going to be pleasing to the white middle class voter. Tax relief certainly will be. Bringing back manufacturing jobs certainly is helping out in areas of the country that
care about tax cuts. Half the country does not pay tax. This is the second-term stuff. Wall, deportations, really start enforcing that Muslim ban, and I'd extend it now. End anchor babies. If he wants to gin up his base, that's what he has to do. Half the country doesn't pay taxes. Also, the trade deficit has actually increased with Mexico and China since Trump has been president. That's kind of a big issue. The three pillars of the Trump campaign were no more pointless wars. Hey, are we still in Afghanistan? Is he threatening some sort of war with North Korea, which isn't even our problem? It's China's problem. So he wanted no more pointless wars, bring manufacturing home, and immigration. He is not doing that. He's moving the embassy. He's pushing through tax cuts. He's failing to get through an Obamacare repeal. This is all the stuff Jeb ! Would have done.
No. Don't say that. Huh. No, but see, I think the bringing back of manufacturing jobs does resonate with the base. And I think,
do, but he's not doing it.
Well, he did it. The numbers have never been better. He brought back more jobs in the last quarter than Barack Obama was able to do in 8 years. Actually, Barack Obama continued to lose manufacturing jobs every single quarter. So there's some stuff that, will resonate with people.
Around the edges. And by the way, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm warning of, the ghost of Christmas future. Mm-hmm. But I think everybody on our side needs to wake up and see what happened in this election. Number one, the base will not blindly follow Donald Trump. They didn't vote for him for his personality. They voted for him on the issues. Number two, Steve Bannon can't just run candidates because they're anti-Mitch McConnell. I mean, I love Bannon and I hate Mitch McConnell, but that is not the winning issue. He's got to choose his primary candidates against Republicans very carefully, and it's got to be on the issue of immigration.
Yeah,
the anti-McConnell thing may gin up 10% of the voters. That's not enough to win elections, and we are just going to lose Senate seats that we ought to be winning, and some we already hold and we're sacrificing, as happened in Alabama. And McConnell, good grief, is he ever going to learn? He's got to tell the Chamber of Commerce, drive them around with a gun to their heads for an hour, saying, we can give you tax relief. We can give you regulatory reform. We can give you tort reform. But we can't give you anything if we keep giving you cheap labor.
Yeah. No, listen, I certainly agree with you on that issue, and I see that it's very slow to bring about, but he has absolutely no assistance from either any of the cabinet or from his from his Congress.
Own advisors in the White House.
Yeah, I mean, he is really alone out there, and I think he has taken it on as in a way that I never believed anybody could. I mean, look, Ann, they have set out to impeach this president since before he took office, and they are relentless. 69 of them, including Lois Frankel, standing up there yesterday. We want an investigation. I mean, give me a break. Trent,
no, I know he is up against the swamp is worse than you or I ever. Imagine, but it would really help him in fighting the swamp if he hired better people himself in his own White House.
Yeah, well, listen, that's another thing about Donald Trump is that we're learning that some of this loyalty stuff he has to put aside. Buy them a new house, but don't take them to Washington with you.
Well, he's not particularly particularly loyal to the people who supported him. Where's Corey Lewandowski? He attacks Jeff Sessions.
Writing
no,
books.
He's loyal to his family. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
Aspects of Trump are going to kill him. And he's smart and he has amazing political instincts. If he would just go back to those amazing political instincts and hire people like Corey Lewandowski, like Pat Caddell, like Mickey Kaus. Like Chris Kobach.
Yeah,
you and I could name off the top of our heads a dozen highly qualified, Ivy League educated, rock solid immigration patriots. But they're no place near the White House. No, it's all, who did Reince Priebus or Jared Kushner suggest?
Yeah. And putting Sessions in as the AG instead of as Homeland Security or ICE or something was a foolish move, a waste of time. And he just doesn't, he's a polite old dude who I love dearly from Alabama, but he can't take on the Muellers and the Rosensteins of the world. Those.
No, I can name another dozen people who should be the Deputy Attorney General. I mean, It is true that Sessions had to recuse himself from anything having to do with the campaign. It's silly to complain about that.
No, but that's why you don't make him AG.
Rosenstein is his deputy. And Rosenstein, by the way, he was president of the Federalist Society at Harvard. It's not a crazy idea, but he's part of the swamp.
Yeah, they're all part of the swamp. And I'm beginning to think that even Jeff Sessions is part of the swamp. So we'll see. We'll see. It's kind of crazy, but you're fired up. The new column came out today?
It just got posted.
All right, so we'll have we'll link that up at the website. When are you coming down here? We're supposed to have our.
I may be coming to your Christmas party tonight.
Ew, really?
Yes, I was invited off camera.
All right, well, that's very interesting. I wasn't planning on going, but you'll have a good time nonetheless. All right, I will talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you soon, Joyce. Bye-bye.